I'm out of this world, not your run-of-the-millin'. My name is Furrow, I'm the owner of the villain. I'm a stoner and I'm chillin' with you bitches like Jack. I pimps and I mags, drive a Benz on the lack. Man, I've been in the back with the groupies in the stores. I've been out front with the thugs and the guards. I've been on the yard with the Mexican mafia. And I only run with niggas that'll kill and die for ya. I'm popular, I'm a rap star, but I live like a rock star running from the cop car. I drop bars on slaps that knock hard. And I charge for this dick extra large. I'm sick of the stars, high to Mars.
Is that bitch o'clock? Yeah, it's thick 30. I've been through a lot, but I'm still flirty. Is everybody back up in the building? It's been a minute, tell me how you feeling. Cause I'm about to get into my feelings. How you feeling? How you feel right now? Oh, I've been so down and under pressure. I'm way too fine to be.
Welcome, everyone. We're going to get started in about 1 minute. We'll just wait for people to keep entering.
In a minute, I'ma need a sentimental man or woman to pump me up. Feeling fussy, walking in my Balenciennes, trying to bring out the fabulous. Cause I'm doing way too much. I'ma need like 2 shots in my cup. Wanna get up, wanna get down. That's how I feel right now. Oh, I've been so down and under pressure. I'm way too fine to be distressed, yeah. Oh, not the girl I was or used to be. Cause you might be down. Turn up the music, turn down the lights. I got a feeling I'm gonna be alright, okay, alright. It's about that time. Turn up the music, let's celebrate. I got a feeling I'm gonna be okay, alright. It's about that time. Cause you know what time it is. I'm coming out tonight. I'm coming out tonight.
Welcome, everyone, and thank you so much for being here for our Reach Intern Program celebration, where we are honoring our largest ever group of graduates. In true teacher fashion, I will be starting with our objectives. By the end of this ceremony, our teacher candidates will be able to reflect on their time at Reach and the immense accomplishment of attaining a California credential, and for some of you, earning a Master of Arts in teaching as well. And for everyone joining us in support of our teacher candidates, your objective is to recognize the colossal efforts of this group of educators and analyze the impact they will have on generations of students to come. This will be measured by the amount of praise and accolades you give to these teachers throughout the evening. If you are joining us on our live stream, please feel free to participate by typing in the chat and using the reaction buttons. If you are joining us in the Zoom space, you're also encouraged to do the same in our Zoom chat. And if you want, you can open the live stream in another tab or window if you want to view or interact with the live chat. To kick off our ceremony this evening, I am honored to introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. Kana Wong, Dean of the Graduate Studies Program here at Reach University.
Thank you, Taylor. Good evening, everyone. Being here tonight is deeply meaningful to me.
Sounds so chill. Thank you, Taylor.
This academic year marks 9 years since I first joined Reach, and you are the largest graduating class we have ever had. People often ask me about my why. The answer is simple, because I know what it feels like to teach completely alone. And I also know how life-changing it is when someone chooses to support you. I began here as an intern program faculty member, back when our classes were still fully in person, sitting alongside intern teachers as they navigated the impossible balance of learning how to teach while already being responsible for students every single day. And I understand that experience personally. My first year teaching was one of the hardest years of my life. I entered the profession through Teach for America. I had completed their summer intensive, but once the school year started, I was on my own. My school site provided no support, and I had terrible classroom management. I cried before work every morning, wishing I had entered any other profession. But every morning I still showed up. The hardest part wasn't the exhaustion. It was the feeling that I was failing my class and my students. I cared deeply about them, but I had no idea what I was doing and no one to turn to. Then late one evening, another teacher walked into my classroom because she noticed my car was still in the parking lot. She sat beside me and showed me how to surviving one day at a time and actually plan instruction. For the first time, I felt like I was beginning to teach. Around that same time, I had a student who could not read and wrote only 4 words: mom, cat, dad, dog. Even for math, his answers were one of them. When I asked my admin how to get him support, I was told to check the list in the teacher's lounge of RTI coordinators. I vividly remember running to the lounge that day. I looked at the sheet, I looked next to 4th grade, and I saw my own name. I was devastated. I didn't even know what RTI was. For years, I believed I had failed these students, but these students are turning 31 this year, and one of them is now my goddaughter. Hi, Ajane. Looking back, I realized those students taught me something foundational. Showing up with care, consistency, and love matters more than we often realize in the moment. What changed my trajectory was people. The teacher who stayed late to mentor me, the 5th grade team that later showed me what true collaboration could look like, and my 6 teacher friends in my Teach for America cohort who became each other's support system long before we had language for affinity spaces. 22 years later, they're still my favorite group chat and my best friends. Those experiences shaped how we built this program. We intentionally designed the intern program in a cohort model around coaching, mentorship, collaboration, and the tutorial method because we know teaching cannot be learned in isolation. Even in our teacher induction program, our collaborative mentorship circles were built around the same belief. Educators grow stronger when they learn alongside one another. Every teacher needs teacher friends because teaching was never meant to be done alone. I learned that asking for help is not weakness, it is professionalism. And I learned something that remains true today. Teaching is not the act of giving knowledge, it's the act of facilitating thinking. To our graduates tonight, what you have accomplished is extraordinary. The intern program is hard. It is demanding in ways that most people outside education will never fully understand. You are not only learning how to teach, you are actively teaching while learning. The stakes are incredibly high because what you do matters, even when the impact is not immediately visible. You have already survived some of the hardest years of your career, and in doing so, you have demonstrated resilience, commitment, and values strong enough to sustain difficult work. As you move forward, I encourage you to keep returning to your why. Revisit it every year, especially during the difficult moments. My why became making sure teachers and students experience the kind of support, collaboration, and care that I once needed myself. Your why may evolve over time, but hold on to it, because there will still be hard days. But there will also be students who remembered that you believed in them, and students whose lives changed because you stayed. Before I close, I want to acknowledge the incredible work of the Associate Dean Leilina, the entire intern faculty team, graduate operations, intern candidate success team, mentors, families, and everyone who helped make your Reach experience possible. This work takes a village, and your success reflects the care and commitment of so many people who believed in you along the way. Thank you for trusting us to be a part of your journey. We are incredibly proud of you. Congratulations, class of 2026.
Thank you so much, Kana, for those inspirational words. I know those words resonate with a lot of our teachers, including myself. And I am just in awe of our graduates that throughout this entire program, you have continued to show up every single day for your students. Now we are going to transition into the presentation of graduates, which will go by content-specific cohort. Each cohort has selected a graduate speaker, and then that speaker will be followed by the professor of that cohort to read names. Please welcome our first graduate address by Cherokee White, who is from the Humanities, Art, Music, and Spanish cohort.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. I want to thank everybody for taking the time to be here. As teacher interns who are full-time teachers and part-time students, we understand all too well the preciousness of time. It's an honor to be selected by a group of classmates as special as this to speak. So I almost said no. My first instinct was no, but this is a magical cohort, and I wanted to do this for them. I also want to open with how much we know that doctors and lawyers have to do in terms of their long schooling and residencies and internships, etc. But nobody talks about how much teachers have to do, especially in the state of California. I'm not sure how many of you guys know this, but California is widely regarded as one of the hardest, if not the hardest state to become a certified teacher in. And this is due to the requirement of your bachelor's degree, completion of a teacher preparation program, your subject matter competency exams, and the passing of both CalTPA cycles, which requires approximately 40 to 50-page portfolios, recorded lessons. And it still has the nerve to ask you if you would like to complete a survey at the end. I tried to skip it. You can't. It's mandatory. And some of us submitted the Cal TPA wrong and had to redo it. It's $150 each time. We're not going to talk about it too much, but you should know that it happens, and it happened. And then once all this is done, this is still only considered a preliminary credential. So even after celebrating this beautiful milestone, each and every one of us will still have to go through what's called induction, which is another 1 to 2 year process where we must work with yet another coach, complete more paperwork, and continue to be observed in order to what's called clear your credential. Teachers are overworked, underpaid. Their jobs and the positions that support them are always being cut, reduced, or consolidated, which is why the average burnout is 5 years and why teacher turnover is so high. And it starts right here before you even get your credential. I worked a full day of teaching today before I even got here. There are people who aren't here finishing with us right now. There are people in this cohort who have balanced being a full-time teacher and student with being parents, with loss of loved ones, with moving, with ICE threats to family and students, and sometimes in other cases, even with other programs. And they still showed up to class every night, and most importantly, for their students every day. I would say that they made it look easy, but I'm lying. They definitely did it. There was times where we looked crazy, where we looked a mess. You probably looked at the bottom of your Zoom screen and somebody was eating at top speed in a very unladylike fashion, and it was probably me. A lot of us didn't feel like talking sometimes in that point in the evening. And sometimes when we did talk, we were commiserating, but we made it a safe place to do so because these are the people who are doing the balancing act alongside you. Something else that doesn't get talked about enough is how teachers are not just teachers. We are lesson designers and presentation constructors, worksheet creators and performers. We are listening ears, sometimes to the point of being counselors. We feed our students and we curate experiences, events, and field trips for them. We are endless Band-Aid dispensers. I don't know what they're doing to themselves, but we need to keep them stocked at all times. Every year, we raise them as high as we can before having to say goodbye to them as if they haven't stolen our hearts, and then we do it all over again. So as I look around at all of you, I'm lying. I can't see all of you. As I look around at some of you, as some of your Zoom boxes, select few of your Zoom boxes, I want you to know that when you see teachers, you are looking at some of the toughest people out. And I want you to know that as you look at this group specifically, you are seeing a group that's even tougher because you are doing it in one of the hardest times to be a teacher due to our administration, world turmoil, drastic financial deficits. That's my nice way of saying you guys should be donating to us. At least mark off Teacher Appreciation Week on your calendar from here on out. I want to thank everybody in my cohort for being tough, but for being soft, for uplifting your fellow cohort members while you were trying to keep yourself uplifted. We all would like to thank Jessica for supporting all of us adult learners with all of the gentleness that you would still give a child learner, for being a nonstop source of encouragement and understanding and joy, because none of us would have survived this with a sense of humor and a sense of joy still intact without you. I also want to give a special shout out to her hilarious cat Pippin because every time he jumped on her head while she was trying to teach or tore down her lights, he made class more fun. So with all that being said, shout out to every graduate here. As our students would say, you are goated, you have maximum aura, but my cohort the most. And as much as we appreciate all of you coming to support us, if you ever really want to show your support, you can start by asking a teacher for their Venmo, Cash App, or Zelle today. Thank you guys for having us. Good night.
Let's show Cherokee some appreciation in the chat. Thank you so much, Cherokee, for speaking on behalf of your cohort. I couldn't say any of that better, so I will keep my words brief. For those of you who have not met me yet, my name is Jessica Edmond, and I have been the instructor for the Humanities, Music, Art, and Spanish cohort this year, and I taught many of this cohort last year as well. Candidates, congratulations on making it to the end of the intern program. This is a huge achievement and you have so much to be proud of. I want to thank every single one of you for your engagement in our weekly seminars, for the depth of your reflections, for supporting each other's learning, and for remaining committed to becoming effective educators for your students. Being part of your learning journey has been a privilege. But now let's get to celebrating each and every one of you with the presentation of candidates from the Humanities, Music, Art, and Spanish cohort. I'm going to read the names of each of our candidates. As we read their names, I ask that you remain muted, but please celebrate each other in the chat. Use Zoom reactions and emojis if you're watching on the live stream. Please follow along on the live stream chat as well. And with that, let's start with our very first candidate from this cohort. Jennifer Aguilar Ceja. Javier E. Alvarado. Eleonora Clark. Nathan Dang. Cree Gauthier. Cole Hatton. Yvonne Sue. Timothy James. Ana Patty Jimenez. Krista Jules. Nayoung Jung. Alejandro Leon Jr. Brian B. Magwanua. Nora Kutab, Miss Aura. Joshua Ruggles. Eric Siebert. Evan Sutterfield. Jenny Tam. And Cherokee White. Let's celebrate the humanities, art, music, and Spanish cohort. Congratulations, everyone in the cohort.
Let's give it up one final time for our humanities, art, music, and Spanish teachers, and particularly for our candidate speaker, Cherokee White. Once again, some heavy resonating words with me. I also want to give a very special shout out to Jessica Edmond because she is officially retiring from teaching and moving to the teacher induction program. Jessica has helped shape our entire intern program and is truly one of the best to ever do it. Now, I am very happy to pass it over to our graduate speaker for the multiple subjects cohort, Anna Harris.
Anna, you're muted.
Sorry about that. It would have been my turn to be muted, right? Okay. I just want to say good evening to everyone and thank you to all my cohorts that gave me the honor and privilege of speaking with all of you tonight. As I reflect on these past 2 years in our intern program, one word comes to mind: growth. Growth is not always easy, and it rarely looks perfect while it is happening. A reflection shared with me recently said, quote, "For a seed to achieve its greatest expression, it must come completely undone," unquote. That deeply resonated with me because becoming a teacher required moments of discomfort, vulnerability, persistence, and rebuilding. There were times many of us felt overwhelmed balancing coursework, teaching, lesson planning, assessments, family responsibilities, and simply trying to keep going. But through those moments, we were growing roots. And really, that is what stands out most about this cohort: the roots and support systems we built with one another. Our cohort brought together so much diversity in age, race, teaching environments, experience levels, grade levels, and educational pathways. Some of us were balancing undergraduate coursework while teaching in less traditional positions. Others were navigating full classrooms, career changes, or family responsibilities. Yet, despite all those differences, what I saw most was warmth, humility, vulnerability, and a willingness to grow. Even through Zoom screens and busy schedules, we created a real sense of community. We supported one another, encouraged one another, and reminded each other that none of us were alone in this journey. Another reflection reminded me that we plant seeds every single day. As teachers, we may not always see the immediate results of our work, but our words, patience, and belief in students matter deeply. Every encouraging conversation, every lesson taught, and every small moment of connection has the potential to shape a child's confidence and future. Coming into education after a previous career, I understood hard work, but teaching has taught me something even greater: the power of human connection, compassion, and resilience. My kindergarten students reminded me daily that growth happens in small steps, one sound learned, one word read, one brave hand raised at a time. In many ways, they were teaching me too. I want to thank our professors, mentors, families, colleagues, and especially this cohort for supporting one another throughout this journey. Today is not just the end of a program, it is a reminder that we are becoming educators of our students' need, reflective, caring, resilient, and committed to growth. As we move forward, I hope we remember that even when we cannot immediately see the impact, the seeds we plant every day truly matter. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anna, for sharing your beautiful reflections and reminders for all of us. Um, this theme of growth was so palpable in our cohort. And to introduce myself, my name is Kara Fleshman, and I am the multiple subjects instructor this year and also had the privilege of teaching a lot of my cohort last year as well. And this cohort really, really stood out to me for their willingness and motivation to grow, like Anna said. And then also, like Anna said as well, our warmth and humility and vulnerability and honesty and willingness to say, I don't know, I need help, and seek out support over these past 2 years has made teaching this cohort such a true joy. I got to witness you all advocate for yourselves and for your students and their families and come together to support each other and build real community on Zoom, which is extremely difficult to do. But you did it with kindness and grace and a lot of perseverance. And I couldn't be more proud to work with you all as my first ever Reach cohort over the past 2 years. And I'm so confident that you will all bring these skills of advocacy and perseverance and honesty and a hunger for growth into your classrooms and your career. And so now I'd like to present and honor each one of you from our multiple subjects cohort. I think we have, let's see, in true Zoom fashion, getting to the right slides. Here we are. Okay, our multiple subjects cohort, we have the I think our slides are frozen. Okay, yay, Laura Alba. Trina Alba. Emma Bao. Masood Boni. Cynthia Bringas. Emily Chen. Teresa Collier. Anna Harris. Stephanie Hernandez Kirk. Laura Herrera. Chantel Hines. Linda Hugh. Alondra Jaime Nava. Vivian Leong. Kim Darielle Rondon Lopez. Sofia Moreno. Katie Mowry. Leah Ashley Ochoa. Laurel Peters. Dolores Prieto. Jessica San Nicolas. Amberlyn Simpson. Kelly Michelle Smith. Claire Stockwell. Alyssa Villalobos. Georgie Vuchkov. Delia Frisson. Maricela Alvarez. Congratulations, everybody.
Yay! Let's give it up one more time for our multiple subjects teachers, the ones starting the educational journey for our students. Thank you so much, Anna, for those special words. And I'm so excited to introduce our final candidate speaker for the evening. Representing our math, science, business, and physical education cohort is Samuel Reagan. If you all are talking, you're on mute.
Great. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So almost 2 years ago, one of the first things that our cohort learned was about culturally responsive teaching and the importance of building a healthy, robust culture in your classroom. Today, I can confidently say that our instructor, Michelle, clap. She would earn She would earn a 4 out of 4 on this section of the teaching rubric. But she certainly didn't have an easy job. Creating a positive learning environment during a weekly 3 hours Thursday night Zoom class full of exhausted intern teachers is a difficult challenge. But miraculously, Michelle has crafted a community that we've all grown to love and to cherish. But Michelle didn't do it alone, because the community is made up of all of its members. And the diverse personalities of our cohort have blended together into something truly beautiful and bigger than its individual parts. Martin and Shuming are both incredibly kind and generous with their resources. Martin just showed up to our graduation with like a huge bag full of snacks, which just perfectly illustrates this. Anytime you were in a breakout room with Brian, it meant you were going to be laughing. If you were in a breakout room with Spencer, you'd be hearing his laugh. And if you were lucky enough to be in a group with both of them, it meant you weren't getting your work done for the day. Kendra's joy of learning is infectious, and I would carry her conversations around in my head for days afterwards. Jazzy is our social butterfly. She's always chatting and bringing people together. Marissa is one of the most genuinely vulnerable and strong souls I've ever met. Carla has a calm, grounding energy that was a solve after a stressful day of work. Dan is direct and gruff, but low-key a big sweetie. And I think we all remember that day when he finally turned the light on in his room and we could see his face. Trace's huge smile kept my spirit up in some of my lowest moments. Christy always had a photo to share of an incredible costume or a story from her classroom or a dance party. And Chuck's love for his students is incredibly beautiful. Every member of our cohort really came together and shared a part of themselves in a way that I truly appreciate. As we come to a close, I find myself feeling hopeful, knowing that you are the educators who I am working alongside to raise the next generation of humans. This hope isn't something that came to me spontaneously. Hope is a practice, something we create, a weapon that we forged together in the fires of our community and in the pressures of our classroom. We tried, we failed, we reflected, we grew, and we've become stronger educators for it. And we've done that work together with each other. I really can't say I'm going to miss spending every one of my Thursday evenings in a Zoom class, but I will definitely miss spending them with all of you.
Yes.
And thank you so much for the time we got to spend together.
Beautiful. Very, very well done. Oh, I think I'm good.
That's good. That's fine. So I think I'm up next. Thank you so much, Sam, for that wonderful mention of everyone in our cohort. It's just so very like our cohort to really just acknowledge the individual and come together as a collective around all things highs and lows when it comes to being a teacher. So I'm not get too emotional here, but it's hard when you're in person. By the way, we're zooming in from Hayward, California. I'm just really lucky to be in person, part of our cohort here. But I was reflecting on our last 2 years. This is the first time that I've ever been part of the REACH program, and as a professor for our STEM cohort, preparing teachers to be science, math, business, PE educators, and to kind of see the growth from the 2 years time, or in some cases we reshifted in the middle of the year, our 1 year time, has been absolute joy. And I was thinking, like, you probably see me as your professor for our cohort, but the reality is I had a cohort of teachers for me. So I'm really grateful for that. You've taught me so much about just what teaching is about, the hardships, and the idea of just persevering, not only through education, but in life, because life was not easy while we were doing the teacher intern program. So not only did we hold each other accountable and support each other as educators, but we also held each other accountable and supported one another as human beings. So it's been very, and I have to say, I'm at most proudest to send forth this cohort into their teaching careers, because that is exactly what I feel like is being shared to the world and to our county and to our students is a hope. So thank you so much for letting me be your professor. Okay, I think that will transition us to our moment of roll call for our STEM candidates. Priya Agarwal. present Maria Aguilar. Carla Ariano Rodriguez. Spencer Arnold. Martin Cooper. Matthew Parrish. Rylan Henke. Xiuming Huang. Brian Jeffries. Daniel Lane. Chuck Kennedy. Any extra? Jasmine Lopez. Trace Massa. Tim Bernadette. Marie. Daniel Vernon. And Christy Wynn. I think that's a repeat.
Yeah, we're coming back
Yeah.
around.
Spencer again.
All right, let's give it up one final time for our math, science, business, and PE candidates. And for that graduate address, Sam, it's very clear that every cohort has created its own special flavor of community. And a big shout out to Michelle for all of the expertise that you brought to your weekly seminars. I now want to take a moment to honor our ECO candidates. These are folks who were on an intensive 1-year path to attain their preliminary credentials. In particular, I want to give a big shout out to the ECO faculty, Gia Bloomstrand, who is also our Cal TPA coordinator. I have to point out that every single one of our candidates who submitted the Cal TPA passed. And of course, that's due to the immense time and effort on the part of our candidates, but it's also in large part due to the resources and materials that Gia put together for our candidates. I am now going to pass it over to Leilina Brooks, Associate Dean of the Intern Credential and MAT program, who will be presenting some candidate awards.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Leilina Brooks, and I'm the Associate Dean in charge of the Intern and MAT program here. I just want to first say that every single one of those candidate speeches was extremely moving, and it just feels really good to be in all of your presence, and it's giving me a little bit of hope, a lot of hope for the world right now. So thank you for all of that. I'm so excited to be celebrating all of our incredible intern graduates. Tonight, we honor not only the completion of a credentialing journey, although, as Cherokee said, you actually do still have induction, but the commitment, resilience, and the heart that each of these educators has brought to their students, schools, and communities, both inside and outside of the classroom. As part of this celebration, we are proud to recognize several candidates whose work exemplifies the core values of our program through our Intern Program Awards: inquiry, equity orientation, integration into practice, and collaboration. These awards recognize educators who have demonstrated exceptional growth, reflective practice, commitment to equity, and partnership in service of student learning. Each recipient reminds us what is possible when educators approach teaching with curiosity, compassion, courage, and a deep dedication to their craft. We are honored to celebrate their accomplishments tonight. I will share a little blurb of each award, and then we will honor a candidate from each cohort who has been selected to win this award. So we'll start with the Inquiry Award. The Inquiry Award recognizes a candidate from each cohort who consistently approaches teaching with curiosity, reflection, and a commitment to continuous growth. These candidates exercise a growth mindset and analytic inquiry as they examine their practice, problem solve to address significant challenges, and thoughtfully refine their teaching to better support student learning. Their willingness to ask questions, seek feedback, and learn from both successes and setbacks exemplifies the spirit of lifelong learning we hope that all educators carry forward. And we are excited to present the Inquiry Awards to Laurel Peters, from the multiple subject cohort, Kendra Mendel from Dr. Wong's cohort, and Alejandro Leon Jr. from Jessica's cohort. Never let that inquiry mindset leave. Equity Orientation. The Equity Orientation Award honors a candidate from each cohort who demonstrates a strong commitment to creating inclusive, affirming, and equitable learning environments for all students. This educator develops awareness of the factors that impact equity in the classroom and schools and consistently approaches students and families with an asset-based perspective. Through culturally responsive teaching practices, relationship building, and intentional reflection, these candidates work to ensure that every student feels seen, valued, and supported in their learning. And the Equity Orientation Awards are presented to Jason Masood Boni from Kara's cohort, Marissa Mota from Dr. Wong's cohort, and Eleonora Clark from Jessica's cohort. Integration into Practice. The Integration into Practice Award recognizes a candidate from each cohort who thoughtfully translates learning into effective classroom practice. These educators consistently implement appropriate research-based pedagogical practices and demonstrate intentionality in planning, instruction, and assessment. Through reflection, responsiveness, and a commitment to student learning, these candidates bridge theory and practice in ways that positively impact their classroom community. And the Integration into Practice Awards are presented to Claire Stockwell, Trace Massa, and Timothy James. And last but definitely not least, collaboration. The Collaboration Award honors a candidate from each cohort who exemplifies the power of learning in community. These educators actively engage in collaborative learning with peers and contribute meaningfully to the growth and development of others through giving, receiving, and acting upon effective feedback. Their openness, professionalism, and supportive spirit strengthen the learning community and reflect a deep understanding that excellent teaching is built through shared, reflective, and collective growth. And the Collaboration Awards are presented to Kim Lopez, Shuming Huang, and Joshua Ruggles. Thank you for sharing our core values with us and to those around you. I will pass it back to Taylor.
Thank you so much. Let's give it up one final time for our awards recipients. Before we move into the final part of our intern program ceremony, I want to take a moment to acknowledge a few folks in particular. First, we have Tanner Camp Hefner for all of the time and support that you dedicated to these 3 cohorts. I feel confident that everyone is going to miss you blowing up their phones with texts and emails. But seriously, you've done so much to get our candidates to the finish line. Next, I want to acknowledge our partnership with the Alameda County Office of Education. This is our first graduating group of AC Teach folks, and I'm so appreciative of all of the expertise and mentorship that you have provided our candidates. Next, I want to give a special shout out to our field supervisors. Your coaching has helped our teachers to hone their reflection and reflexiveness and has directly led to more positive outcomes for our most marginalized students. Lastly, I want to acknowledge the support that our teachers receive on the ground through their district employed supervision. That immediate, in the moment support has been a lifeline for a lot of our candidates. All right. So this concludes the live stream portion of our intern program celebration ceremony. Thank you all so much for celebrating our graduates with us tonight. Your exit ticket is to send your graduate a text telling them how proud you are of them.